It is rightly said, a loud voice is considered as noise pollution. However, a loud voice speaking good substantial matter is heard and welcomed by all. Hi friends, here's a short story for you. This story is about a young boy who used to work for a Seth. He was an orphan and was living a life full of difficulties. He used to go out every day to work, come back home, prepare food for himself, and go off to sleep. One day, he saw an old fakir laden with three heavy sacks on his back, traveling from one city to the other. He was too old, and after walking and covering some distance, he halted and took rest under a tree as he was completely tired. Suddenly his eyes caught sight of the young lad traveling in the same path and going in the same direction. The young boy crossed the fakir. Fakir stopped the young boy and asked him to carry one of the sacks for him to the next village as he was too old and tired also. He also offered him 3 gold coins for his help. The young boy took one of the sacks from the fakir and carried on his back. And then the young boy actually found the sack to be very heavy. The boy and the fakir started walking ahead. After walking some distance, the village came to an end, and now a deserted road was leading ahead. Both of them were happily moving ahead in their path. When they were away from the crowd, the boy asked the fakir what was there inside the sack that was making it weigh so heavy. The fakir replied that the sack was full of copper coins and that is why it weighed so much. The boy started thinking that the fakir must be a businessman and that is why he was carrying so many copper coins. And he also thought that how does it matter to him as he just had to help the fakir carry the sack to the next village. After walking for some time, both of them reached the bank of a river. The boy was healthy and active, so without thinking, he went down into the river, whereas the fakir was still standing on the bank. The boy asked the fakir to start moving and cross the river so that they could reach the village. The fakir replied that he was aware that they would have to cross the river in order to reach the village. However, he was too old and was finding it difficult to cross the river with 2 sacks on his back. He asked him if he could help him with one more sack, and he offered him 3 more gold coins for that sack too. The boy smiled and replied that he was embarrassing him by that offer, and he would have definitely helped him reach the village otherwise also. The fakir smiled and complimented him for being such a nice person. He handed over the second sack also to the boy. The boy found the second sack also to be very heavy. However, he kept quiet and they crossed the river. After crossing the river, the boy asked the fakir what made the sack weigh so much. To this the fakir replied that it contained silver coins. This made the boy's brain work faster. He started thinking that the fakir was carrying copper coins in one sack and silver coins in the other one. It seemed that he had collected those coins by selling off his land, but he remained silent and they kept moving ahead. After going a little further, they came across a deserted road. Various thoughts started coming into the boy's mind. He thought if he ran away with those coins, it would be difficult for the fakir to catch hold of him. He further planned of buying a good shop, start his own new business. Moreover, he thought, what good would that money do to the fakir? All this was going on in his mind, and then suddenly he was surprised at himself for having those kind of thoughts. He started thinking that God knows where from the fakir was coming, and God knows how he collected that money. He controlled his mind and stopped himself from thinking like that. But after some time, his thoughts started overpowering him. After covering some distance, they both came near to a mountain. The fakir told the boy that he was too old and had pain in his knees, and it was difficult for him to climb the mountain. He requested him to carry his third sack also and offered him 3 gold coins again. The boy asked the fakir what the third sack contained, to which he replied that it was full of gold coins. The boy was happy hearing this and took the third sack from the fakir. They both started climbing the hill thereafter. Once again, various thoughts started coming into the boy's mind. He thought if he got all that money, then he would be able to live his life easily. And moreover, he further thought that the fakir was too old and almost near his end, so what for would he need that much money? His evil thoughts overpowered him, and he decided to run away with the money. In order to justify his evil motive, he further thought of the fakir to be some kind of robber, as he was carrying lot of gold coins with him. Had he been a businessman, then he would have definitely made use of some kind of transport instead of traveling on foot. He further thought him to be a thief and convinced himself that there was no harm in stealing from a thief. With these thoughts in his mind, the boy kept walking and decided to run down the hill along with all the 3 sacks once they reached the peak of the mountain. He also thought that he would be the owner of all the money and would get rid of poverty and have a good life. After running a long distance, somehow he reached his home. There was no limit to his happiness. He then decided to take out the money from all the sacks, but was surprised to see iron coins full of rust in the first sack. Hurriedly he opened the second sack and found rusted iron coins in that sack too. He was amazed to see rusted iron coins in the third sack as well. He was full of anger and wondered why the fakir lied to him. He was thinking about all this when his eyes caught sight of a letter lying in one of the sacks. The letter read that he was the king of that place, and the whole drama was concocted in order to search for an honest person. It also read the king had no children, and therefore he was on the lookout for an honest person who could become the king of the state and take charge of the state. After reading this, the boy started screaming. He sat down for a while and realized that if he had controlled his thoughts, he could have had a better life. Friends, Lord Buddha says that mind is everything. You become what you think. Even your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own wavering thoughts can. Lord Buddha says one must look inside oneself, and whatever thoughts are there in one's mind, they would come out in the form of words, and words take form of one's deeds. These deeds later on take form of behavior, and then finally it becomes one's nature. Nature leads to development of one's luck. Therefore, you must be careful about your thoughts. Further, Lord Buddha says that weakness of mind generates from low thoughts. Evil thoughts should be nipped in the bud before they destroy the power of our intellect to think and understand. The young boy's evil thoughts overpowered him, and he was unable to distinguish between good and bad, and he lifted the 3 sacks and ran away hastily. So, how do you control the empowerment of evil thoughts on your mind? Lord Buddha says, first, one must question oneself if whatever the person is going to do is correct or not. Secondly, you must develop awareness of meditation. This would help your mind get calm and make you get rid of all the negativities. If you wish to be happy, you must have full control on your mind and keep it empty. Friends, I hope you were able to learn something good from this video. You may like my channel if you found the story to be a good one. We'll come back with more interesting videos. Bye.